So in this video, we're going to be showing you a time lapse of making a board from start to finish. All the grunt work, all the process, everything you don't see, we're going to show you. So let's get into it.
To start everything off, we're going to start with the CNC machine. So we design all the file on the computer, send it over to the CNC machine. CNC machine does the thing, whizzes around, cuts all the material off, leaving us with the perfect board. And after that, we're into the shaping bay. Now I use the word shaping for lack of a better description. I'm by no means a shaper. The CNC machine does literally all the work. All I'm doing at this stage is just sanding it back, getting a nice clean finish, taking out those CNC machine marks. Now you can do this process without a CNC machine, and it's called hand shaping. They're the proper shapers. I'm not a proper shaper. But there's a lot more time and skill involved in that, where the CNC machine is a lot quicker and it's also a lot more precise. I'm not saying hand shaping is not precise, just the CNC machine is a bit more precise. So now that it's all shaped, we're going to be marking up the fin positions. Then we're going to be cutting in the fin boxes using a little jig and a little router. Now this particular board I had a little bit of problem with. It was the first time installing 5 fins, so I was a bit concerned on the depth, but apart from that it was all fairly straightforward. Then we're going to set the fin boxes in with some resin. Now I've gone a little bit overboard and put some tape around the fin boxes. You don't need to do that, but I just like getting a nice clean finish, as clean as possible. And now we're ready for our first laminate. So on this particular board I'm going to be laminating the deck first, just because we're going to put a resin tint on the bottom, and it's a lot easier to get a nice clean cut lap when you're doing the cut lap onto a laminate. Apart from that, it's all fairly straightforward, just a nice clear resin, whip it on. Once that's all gone off, we're going to be grinding the laps and getting ready for the bottom laminate. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to mark out the cut lap and then tape up to that line to get a nice cut lap line. Then we're ready to start throwing on some cloth. So this board is going to be having a turquoise and white marble tint. So with my marble tints, I like to keep them fairly linear, so they're a lot more easier to replicate and repeat. If I get too crazy, they'll get a lot more difficult to make the same board twice. And then moving on to the cut lap. And this cut lap came out really clean. I was really happy how the cut lap came out. A little bit of tidy up work with the sander, but apart from that, it's all ready for sand coats. So a sand coat is basically another layer of resin that goes over the top of the laminate to fill the laminate in, and it also gives us something we can sand back without damaging the laminate and making it too weak. Now it's really important you get a nice level flat laminate, and it'll make sanding a hell of a lot easier. Once that's all gone off, we're going to throw in a quick cheeky little leash plug. And then it's ready for its first sand. So we do 2 sands. The first sand we're doing now is going to be a nice rough sand. I use 40 grit sandpaper, really rough it up, get the board nice and flat and ready for a gloss coat. Now the flatter you can get the board now will make the gloss coat and the final polish a lot easier. So really take your time with this process, get it right, then you don't have to fix your mistakes when you're doing the gloss coat. And now we're ready for some gloss coat. So we're going to screen print some logos on, slap on some tape just to kind of catch all those drips like we've just sanded the board. So if we can avoid doing extra sanding, that'd be great. Now the gloss coat is very similar to the sand coat. It's going to fill in all the scratches, give us a nice perfect finish. It's also going to give us something to polish back up without hitting the glass and giving us a nice clean finish. And now we're on to the final sand. So at this sand we're going to be roughing the board up, taking it down to about a 400 finish. Then we're going to be working our way up the grit stages from 400, 600, 800, 1000, 1500, 2000, then finally a polish. Now this particular board I'm only going to be polishing the marble tint, and we're going to keep in the white deck, taking it up to about an 800 grit finish. But this particular stage is quite the labor intensive stage. You can kind of see it's going to be like a minute and a half long of just sanding. And that's probably about 4 to 5 hours in the sanding bay, cut down to a minute and a half. So as you can imagine, it can get a little bit tedious at times, but I love it. I really enjoy this last process. You really start to see the board get into that perfect final finish, and there's so much, it's so rewarding once you finish the board, get to see the board all done, and it all starts to come together. Now, I'll be honest, I'm kind of struggling to waffle for this long over some boring sanding, but you know, I'm trying, I'm doing my best, but why not talk about waffles? Mix it up. We'll waffle about waffles just for like another 30 seconds or so whilst I'm sanding. It's really not that entertaining. It's starting to get a little bit more shiny now, so that's something. But the thing is with waffles, they're just so square, and this isn't square whatsoever. So I don't even know why you brought waffles up, to be honest. Like, they're completely irrelevant in this conversation. But the board's all sanded now and it's looking pretty good. I think we're just tightening out the fin boxes. Yeah, look, we're done. But yeah, really happy with how this board came out. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I hope you enjoyed seeing a bit of behind the scenes about how we made the boards as well. So if you liked the video, feel free to check out the website www.surfboarduklimited.com and pick one of these bad boys up. All our boards come with a 2-year free ding warranty, so you can bash it on the rocks, bring it in, we will fix it free of charge. I'm joking, of course. If you bash it on the rocks will in fact need ding repairs. Boom.